Hi everyone, this is a recap of the group 2 class number 1. Okay, so first, as usual, keep your paper horizontal and then draw a line at the center, and from now on we will be marking the pages into two sections. The one on the right will be the classwork and the one on the left will be homework. Okay, so in today's class we will be learning the basics of shading. So how to hold your pencil and how to bring in variation in your shades and things like those. So there are basically three kinds of shade. The first one is light, then you have the medium, and then you have the dark shade. Alright, and now I'll show you on how to create the light, medium and the dark shades. So for the light shade, hold your pencil a little bit away from the nib like this and make a very light shade like this. It's just a number of lines that are mixed together to create a very light shade. Just draw some random lines like this. And for the medium, apply a little bit of more force on the pencil and make it a little more darker than the light, so it will be somewhat like this. And for the dark, make it even more darker. Use more force on the pencil, and then you'll get the dark shade. And in the next step, we will learn how to draw these shades within a given shape. So let's draw three rectangles like this, small boxes, and then shade light inside this, the first rectangle. You will shade with the medium tone, and the third rectangle you will shade with the darker tone. Right? So you'll shade it light in the first rectangle, the medium make it a little more darker. Make sure that you fill it within the rectangle and not to shade it outside the rectangle. So if any part of the pencil shade goes outside the rectangle, just erase it off. Make it a little more darker. And then for the dark shade, make it very dark. So you have the three basic shades. So if any part of the pencil goes out, make sure you clean it up, and also make sure to fill completely inside the rectangle. Alright? Okay, now you can draw a line, and now we will see how a shade can change from dark to light. We are going to learn about shade transitions. Okay, so in the first section we will start off with a very dark shade, and then we will move to the light shade. We will shade it very dark here, and then when you move away from the dark, make it lighter. Make this change as smooth as possible, because that is what we are trying to learn. If it is abrupt, just make it a little bit more darker on the top, and then gradually and smoothly bring it down. The second section we will go with a very light first and slowly move to medium and then to dark. And now we will move from dark to medium to light and back to medium and dark. So we will start with very dark lines here, gradually move it down to light, and when it is very light, move it back to medium and then to dark. So these are some of the techniques that we will need when we are drawing real life objects. So if you think the transition is not smooth, just draw over what you have drawn before, like shade over what you have shaded before, and make it much more gradual. Okay. So what we don't want to see is something like very hard like this, and then light like this, and then again very hard. We don't want this to happen, because this is not a smooth transition. This is from very dark to very light, very sudden. You have a sudden change here, but as you can see here, from dark to light, it is very gradual. It is changing slowly. So we don't want anything like this happening. So I'll just rub it off for now. Right, now we will do the same shade transitions inside a rectangle. So draw 3 rectangles. Alright, now do the same shade transition from the top left corner and then to the bottom right corner like this. Try to fill it. So again, make it darker initially, then to medium, and then to light. So if you think the top left corner is not dark enough, shade again over this, it will get darker. And move it down. So if you think the change is not getting gradual, just draw over it again, shade over it again, and then bring it gradually change it to very light. Right, and then we'll go from light here to medium and then to dark. So now you can see there is a hard line in between, so you don't want that to happen. So if you think it is very hard in the center, or when you move from a dark to a lighter shade, just erase off some part of it slowly and start from the bottom, dark, and draw it lighter, make it lighter. Right, so you can make it a little bit more lighter here and draw very thin lines. Okay, And now we will go from dark to medium to light, and then to medium, and then to dark. So for this we'll start from dark, then medium, then light, then medium, and dark. So just draw over it to complete it. It may not come right in the first try itself, so I want you to practice it more using these rectangles with and without the rectangles. I think most of you are have done a really good job without the rectangles. I think it is when the rectangles come in that you have a problem. Okay, so once we have done this much, then you can make your shade the transition much more smoother by using a cotton bud. So what you have to do is you just have to rub over this from the darker side first, and then to the lighter side. Darker side again, and then to the lighter side. So if you think your shade is going outside like this, if it is going outside, use an eraser to just rub it off. Also the same here, make it smooth. Right, just make it a little bit more darker here. Right. Then the same here, I also will make a little bit more darker here. Right, so this is the basics of shading. Now we will try to draw a ball that is placed on the ground, and I will tell you on how to shade different parts of the ball based on where the light from the sun is falling on it. Okay, so first of all we will draw a circle to represent the ball. This need not be perfect, just draw a closed figure like this to represent a ball. Okay. Right, now you can draw the ground. Just draw a line beneath the ball to represent the ground. So imagine if we have the sun over somewhere over here, and the light from the sun is coming like this. So again, these are the light from sun. So when the light from the sun is coming from the right side, this part will be lighter, and this part, which is away from the sun, will be darker. So you can mark it like this: light and dark. So you need to transition the shade from the darker side to the lighter side. Okay, so I'll show you how to do it. Just make the side really dark. Always try to hold the pencil away from the nib, because that will require very much less effort as compared to when you hold it here. So you can make it very dark, then slowly start to transition. So this will be the first layer with the dark. And slowly you can change into medium, try to follow the shape of the ball. So when you're shading it, instead of shading it straight, bring in some curve like this. That will make your picture more realistic. Just erase off this line in the center, so you can make it much more darker. And make it lighter as you come towards the light. So the more the time that you take for shading this, the more realistic your picture will look towards the end. So the key is to stay patient in your drawing all the time. You can draw the same figure within 5 minutes, or you can take up to 1 hour for drawing it. So the more the time you invest in drawing or shading a picture, the better it will be. So now we have reached the medium section. Now the curvature, initially we were shading it like this. So when you come to this side, you have to shade it like this, right? So just change your angle a little bit and make it lighter here, then you can come towards dark. You can make it lighter and come towards darker. Right? So this part should be very light. So again, go back. If you think the dark part is not dark enough, again go back and make it darker. And then blend it all together. Right? Alright. I think this should be good for now. Now you can see that transition is not very smooth. You can see dark and harsh borders between the different shades. You can see here it is, the medium gets over here and then you have light, then you can actually see a line here. which we don't actually want to see it. So for that purpose, to blend in large shapes, you can use a tissue paper, hold it like this between your fingers, and then just rub over this. Make sure you don't shade it beyond the circle. Make sure that when you shade it well within the circle. So even if you go outside like this, just use your eraser to erase it off. Right? So the next thing that you can do is just erase off. You can see a very dark line, the outline of the circle. You can actually make it lighter by just erasing it a little by little, very carefully. And then you can draw a very light line over this, make it lighter. All right. All right, so even I'm having a little bit of a patch here, I think I had to get rid of it. So you just rub it off and use your tissue paper to smudge it and make it even. There you go. So you can actually make it much more smoother, just move it in circles. Alright, cool. So now this figure looks much more realistic. And this is actually the basics of how to shade. So depending upon the direction of the light, you have to make the opposite side dark, and the part on the side of the light should be made lighter. So if you have the light coming from this side of the ball, then this part will be lighter and this part would have been darker. Right? So I want you to do the same work that we did here onto the left part, the homework part, and just send me the pictures after you do that. So these are some of the pictures that I drew last week. So I just want to demonstrate on the time and the patience that you should have when you are drawing a picture. So for example, this picture on the left, it took me about 2.5 hours to complete this picture. You can see the gradient, the shades moving from dark to light here, and also you can see how I shaped the water drops. So this picture, I'm just emphasizing the fact that the more the time you invest on your picture, the better it will look. So even this picture over here, I think it took me like 1.5 hours for drawing this one. So just invest a lot of time when you are actually drawing a photo, and by time you can bring up photos that are much more realistic and beautiful. Alright, then I will see you guys in the next week. So stay safe. Bye.